Welcome, everyone, to this session of Administrator Issues and Updates on September 3rd, 2025. County Administrator Gary Schmidt, would you please call the roll for us?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Roll call. Commissioner West.
Here.
Commissioner Schrader.
Here.
Commissioner Helm.
Here.
Commissioner Savas.
Here.
Chair Roberts.
Here. All right, Gary, what do you have for us on the
Thank you.
agenda?
Welcome back, Commissioners, from your August break. The first item today is board nomination to the Metro Regional Waste Advisory Committee. Cheryl Bell, Deputy Director of Transportation and Development, will present this morning. There's a memo in your packet. Cheryl, go ahead, please.
Yeah, good morning, Chair Roberts and Commissioners. Welcome back. Hope you had a nice time away. We're here to share an opportunity with you to engage with Metro on regional solid waste issues. Metro is seeking a nomination to fill a vacant seat on the Regional Waste Advisory Committee, or the RWAC. Membership on this committee provides the opportunity to advise Metro Council directly on policy issues such as the 2030 Regional Waste Plan, the Regional System Facilities Plan, and this is the plan that's going to be reimagining Metro South into a depot for recycling collection, and then also be talking about relocation of the activities at Metro South to a new location. They also oversee Metro's waste prevention and environmental services budget. Included in this budget determination is setting Metro's solid waste fee, or tip fee. This is the tip fee that directly influences the rates when we do our rate study each year. This 17-member policy committee includes representatives from industry and the community, including counties, large and small cities, recyclers, waste haulers, nonprofit reuse and environmental organizations, community members, and Oregon DEQ, so it's quite a big stakeholder group. 2 Metro councilors serve as committee chair and vice chair. Currently, there are 2 members who represent portions of Clackamas County. Oregon City Mayor Denise McGriff and Metro Councilor Christine Lewis are currently members, and attachment A includes a full list of the current membership of the RWAC. In considering this, the time commitment is this local government members, which this seat would be, serve a 2-year term, and they meet monthly on the 4th Thursday of the month from 2 to 4 p.m. The board may nominate a representative, and Metro Council does do the final decision of appointment to RWAC. During the last cycle, we did nominate Mark Schull for consideration as a member, but Metro did not appoint him. So staff wanted to highlight this opportunity due to past board interest in serving on RWAC, and there's 2 options for the board consideration today. The first is to take no action. If the board takes no action, we'll continue to be represented by Councilor Lewis and Mayor McGriff. Or option 2 is to identify a member of the board to nominate for this vacant position. If we choose option 2, I do want to highlight this closes September 5th, which is Friday, so we'll just want to take quick action on this. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions about RWAC.
All right, questions, colleagues? So is there a motion to submit a name to Metro for consideration? Is there, kind of have 2 options here. Commissioner Helm.
I'm not sure how long this committee has been around, but have we ever had a representation from a commissioner?
Wasn't it Scholl?
Well, it said he was not appointed. He was nominated by this commission, but was not appointed by Metro. That's, so I mean, in the past.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Last cycle, Metro reimagined RWAC. So it used to be a staff level group, and so it was more professional staff from all the jurisdictions in Clackamas County was involved in that for a long time. And then Metro Council last year decided to reimagine it to get more elected official engagement, to really kind of change this and make it a true advisory to the Metro Council. So that's when they opened nominations for this new iteration of the RWAC. We submitted Mark Scholl's name, and he wasn't appointed, so.
So who wants to do it, I guess? Ben, do you want to do it?
So is this a Clackamas, you may have already said it, I was trying to listen,
Yeah.
but is this actually a Clackamas County Commission seat?
It is,
It
yeah.
is seat. So this chart in here is the old
That's correct.
model, not the new
Yeah,
model.
yeah. There's an open seat for another elected official, so this would be for an elected official
So we
position.
wouldn't displace Mayor McGriff and others?
No,
Okay.
no.
No, that's what I would say. Council Lewis.
I'm looking this way.
back at you.
I will support any of you all.
We're looking back at you.
Do you know which Thursday it is?
It's the fourth Thursday of the month from 2 to 4 p.m.
So Ben, you might have a conflict with the VAC,
Yeah.
Veterans Advisory Committee, so.
Gary has a comment.
I'm sorry, the memo's confusing.
It is.
You do not need to appoint you do not need to nominate one of yourselves. You
Right.
do not need to do that.
Right.
Okay.
You can keep the status quo.
Let's
If
just see
if one of you want to do this, you have the opportunity today.
Can I,
But Metro makes the decision, you do not. You just make a suggestion to Metro.
Yes.
just
go
a
ahead.
clarifying question. So it's my understanding that we've changed the model. Clackamas County has a seat at it. Currently, our staff fills that seat because Joel was never appointed, or why would we not fill? I'm confused a little bit.
Yeah,
Sorry, Gary.
I'm sorry for that confusion. Previously, it used to be a staff-level committee, and we were involved. Last year, Metro changed the committee and removed all the staff and made it elected officials and the stakeholders that are included. So currently, Clackamas County does not have staff on the committee or a seat. Mayor McGriff has been the regional, and Christine Lewis, Councilor Lewis. And so staff attend, we bring things to you for comment when there's things that we believe should be elevated to you, but we currently are not seated on this.
What
on
would
the RWAC.
happen if we don't appoint a commissioner?
I think we
We,
did.
we continue to work with with Mayor McGriff and Councilor Lewis who are on that, and continue to bring forward to you any issues that we thought maybe needed a letter of support, letter of concern, and monitor it at the staff level. We're engaged at the staff level behind the scenes.
Would do all the other counties in the metro area have an actual elected representing their county?
The ones who are on the list do have elected officials.
So Washington and Multnomah also have elected commissioners that are attending?
Washington County has chosen a commissioner. Multnomah County did not. It looks like
Yeah.
it's a Portland City Commissioner.
Portland runs most of the
Gotcha.
recycling facilities.
So
is
Portland and Washington County have,
But what's on the screen is not actual.
is not actual, is
It's the old
accurate.
model. So our Clackamas County seat is not specific, and
I'm sorry, that's why the memo's, no offense, this is a very confusing memo. This is the current roster as of 2025. That's now, the new format. Is that correct, Cheryl?
That is correct.
So what you see is the current roster.
So,
I'm sorry, Commissioner Helm had her light on.
that's okay.
Well, I was going to go ahead and make a motion, but one quick question, Cheryl, though. So have there been any kind of high-level problems that have been brought back to us since this commission was formed, or this committee was formed? I mean, I'm comfortable with Mayor McGriff and Councilor Lewis representing us in Clackamas County. I just worry if one of us is not at the table. I mean, do we have input as far as tipping fees? Do we have input as far as some other high-level things that I'm kind of not aware of?
Sure. So I guess a good example is we brought forward to the commission the Regional System Facilities Plan, that conversation and presentation, so that you got direct engagement from Metro on that plan because it does impact Clackamas County and the changes at Metro South. Regarding the tip fee, we would, there's still public opportunities during the budget process to provide comment on the tip fee, but we wouldn't be seated at the table during that conversation on the RWAC part.
Okay. All right. All right.
so Gary, I'm inclined to ask to you this time, Cheryl, when I asked her the question, is there a Clackamas County Commissioner-specific seat? And maybe I didn't word it correctly. So is there or is there not?
I'm reading this as no, there is not, and is not required to be either.
It's a governmental seat,
Governmental seat, okay, in general, okay.
correct?
Commissioner Schrader had comment.
Yeah, I actually feel comfortable having Mayor McGriff and Councilor Lewis manage it. My question is, it also includes the waste haulers on this committee,
That's correct.
so they are directly part of that conversation.
That's correct.
Okay,
And they don't like me right now.
well, go ahead.
Commissioner West.
So recently, we've had some controversial discussions, not as a full board, but hopefully soon, around the hauler fees that are passed on to our constituents and the garbage costs, and tipping has been an issue that we've had there's been some contention with this board and some of the stuff around waste management coming out of Metro, the complexity and the cost associated with what we're seeing and how that impacts real people's lives and businesses, and expenses. So I guess my question to my colleagues is, if we're not at that table, are we abdicating the role because we've stepped out in a way that has been a little bit different voice than the other partners in the region? And so if we're not at this specific table as an elected, and this is primary elected, how does that impact the conversations we've been having around these issues? I see you smiling, Commissioner's office, but I think we should, I know we're all busy. I know we all feel the weight of every single meeting we have. So I don't know, I'm curious about how you guys think
Well,
that impacts what we're talking about and doing as a board. I don't know, I don't know, I'd love to know what you guys think.
I think my question might be to staff is, I mean, do you see it, because you are attending, you have staff attending these meetings, and do you see that it is working by coming back to us and presenting what the challenges or issues are so that we can address them? Or, I mean, what's your kind of take on it? I guess I'd ask, because you have staff in the meetings.
I think I think Commissioner West's point is well taken. If we have there are ways, like I said, there's ways to engage, like specifically in the tip fee during the budget process, because it is open for comment, public comment was taken. But it's not at the point where they're making those decisions at RWAC. So it would be a different level of advocacy. Staff can't advocate in RWAC because we're there to listen. So I think if you're wanting to actually be in the conversations that are happening at that fee setting, that would be an effective way to do so.
all right, I'll volunteer and see how it goes. I mean, you've got impact, Diana, so you're filled with that, and that's a whole nother bailiwick. I would be willing to try and take this on for the time being.
And
that
if you
okay?
can't make it, Martha, I'd be
We
happy
could
to
do
step in.
alternates. We can
alternate
alternate.
between
I'm the
us.
alternate for impact
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
can't do it,
Okay.
so it's, yeah. Can we have an alternate then? We'll
I'm not
just-
sure, yeah, we can find
we'll
out. But we
just-
do need to nominate one
Okay,
commissioner
okay.
for the position.
I will do it, and then if there's any issues with attending meetings, we can, if I'm gone or whatever, we'll work it out. And they won't say no to an alternate if we tell them that's what we're doing anyway, so.
So for clarity reasons, Gary, would
Do you
Mayor
need a motion?
McGriff and Christine Lewis still be on it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to confirm that.
Thank you, Martha, for doing that.
Yes, thank you,
Well,
Martha.
I'm trying to, yeah, I should be able to do it just fine. One of the issues I worry about is I'm trying to also run for a national piece. So, but I think I can take this on and fit that in with no problem.
Thank you for
So-
stepping up, Martha.
So Chair, I move to nominate Commissioner Schrader as the representative for this new structure for
Metro Region.
Metro's Regional Waste Advisory Committee.
A second?
And Commissioner Savas has moved to nominate Commissioner Schrader, the Metro Region Waste Advisory Committee. It's been seconded by Commissioner Helm, and I see further discussion. Commissioner West?
I just, so we're not having sidebars, we'll
And
we'll
Emily-
support you, Martha, you're running for the National Association of Counties. That is not, that's a lot, like, that's a massive thing you're walking into.
And I think that Emily.
And I just want to have, as a board, we should realize Martha's running for the National Association of Counties president. Taking something like this on, I know you're trying to be a team player, but I just want, and I love that, but I just want to be honest
well,
with where,
would you-
where are you? Are you okay?
Would you consider doing it? No? Just starting it? Because, you might learn a lot about tips and fees.
Well, I've been one of the more controversial voices on some of
Well,
Metro's
okay.
efforts, but my question to you is, as I'm working with the veterans, and I'm wondering, like, how many times my meetings will will have a conflict.
Yeah.
And I know we're in discussion, so we're just discussing the motion, which,
Well, I wonder if the chair would be interested in doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gary's got me pretty busy right now. He's even going to tell me, don't even think about it, Roberts. I think that I think a lot of us would be willing to step up and, if you couldn't make it, to help support you and
Okay.
fill that when you were
By
not
committee?
there. Yeah, and just, hey, if
Just do
you
it by
can't make
committee.
it.
Why don't you put
Who's
my
next in
name
line
down?
to support? Okay.
All right, okay.
Okay, appoint by committee.
Tell Emily I'm
Okay,
sorry.
so with that being said, I think, can we move on to, clerk, would you please call the poll on this?
Commissioner West,
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader,
Aye.
Commissioner Savas,
Aye.
Commissioner Helm,
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, and
So
thank
when's
you,
the
thank you
first-
again, Martha.
When's the first meeting coming up now?
We'll find that out for you, Commissioner. I'll connect offline with the policy analyst and get this started. Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Cheryl.
I'm
All
now-
right,
I'm now
Gary.
officially the garbage lady. Great.
Next, advisory board and commission appointments. Andrew, go ahead, please.
Mr. Chair, the Clackamas Workforce Partnership has one current member up for reappointment. 25 total members are allowed, serving 3-year terms. The renewal applicant expressed written interest in continuing board membership and qualifies for the position as the representative from the State Employment Service Office as required under the Wagner-Pacer Act and the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. The recommendation is as follows. Tom Previs to a second term ending September 2028. The board could select this candidate or require further recruitment, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. Colleagues, questions? Seeing none, may I have a motion, please?
I move we approve the reappointment of Tom Previs to the Clackamas Workforce Partnership.
A second?
Right. Commissioner Schrader has moved to approve the reappointment of Tom Previs to the Clackamas Workforce Partnership, and Commissioner Helm has seconded that. Any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, would you please call the poll for us?
Commissioner Savas,
Aye.
Commissioner West,
Aye.
Commissioner Helm,
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader,
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion
And
passes 5-0, Mr. Chair.
thank you very much. Gary, what's next?
Next is county administrator and county council performance review process. I will discuss this with you. There's a memo in your packet. A few months ago, I came to an executive session to ask you, as it was time for my annual performance evaluation, if you would consider perhaps a different process for how you evaluate your 2 employees. As a board, as you know, you have 2 employees, the county administrator and county council. That's it. And the county has gone through many processes over the past, all different, on how you've evaluated your 2 employees. As the memo outlines, the various processes prior to 2017, it was done entirely in-house with human resources leading that effort. And then you conduct the evaluation itself within the executive session, which is allowed by law. And then any salary changes are discussed publicly, of course. In 2017 to 2018, the board hired an external consultant to lead the process for your 2 employees. Then back in 2019, you went back to an in-house process with human resources leading the effort, and then you modified that slightly in 2021, still internally with human resources leading that effort. I had requested to you if you would consider and going back to an external consultant leading the effort, only because our HR department does a fantastic job. It's a bit awkward because the HR director reports to me. And while the director, Evelyn, has total integrity, as does her staff, and I believe I do as well, it's uncomfortable that my staff is working on my own internal evaluation process. So I requested to you that you might consider an external consultant. You asked HR to do some research, which they did, and I thank Evelyn Minor-Lawrence, the director, and Sherry Reedman from the Workforce Division, who did the research for me and for you, which is in the memo. There are external consultants that do this work. There's a cost, however, to doing that. You can see on the samples of 2 vendors who gave samples of how they would do this work. One would charge $20,000 a year for your 2 employees. The other is much more reasonable, between $6,000 to $9,000 a year to do a process where it would be surveys, interviews, kind of put a coaching program together as part of the evaluation process. You also asked what do other counties do, and HR contacted several, and in the back of the memo is what other counties are doing for their processes. You can see it's all over the map. Some do it internally, some have an external vendor that does their work as well. So I'm simply asking for a quick public discussion. How would you like to review the performance of the county administrator and county council? Whatever process you choose, of course, I will support and agree to. It's actually time for my review, so this is timely for you to just decide on a process. I prefer an external vendor to guide this process. Let's try it, please. It really helps in my professional development. I'm an employee too. I work for you, but I'd like to be a better employee for you. And I think having an external vendor who does a really skilled coaching, stakeholder review, assessment could help me to be a better employee for you. But there's a cost to that. So with that, open to your feedback, to your questions. Sherry's in the room as well if you have questions of HR. But ultimately looking for your direction today, how you'd like to do the process for your evaluation process for your 2 employees.
All right, colleagues, questions, and I see Commissioner West.
Man, it's been an expensive morning. There's such a disparity in these two. We have history with Prothman. Executive forum, I don't know anything about. I'm wondering if you get what you pay for, or if we have experience with executive forum, or what would be reasonable. I don't have an appetite, especially this morning, to spend a lot of money. 6,200 or 9,300 seems not all that expensive in the big scheme of our giant budget. So I didn't know if you had any more comments about comparing and contrasting these 2 vendors and what we can expect, and why is there such a disparity in the 2 quotes?
I can answer that, and Sherry, if you have any guidance, please come forward. So Executive Forum, you do know them because they led your March board retreat. That's the Executive Forum.
Oh, okay.
Actually, the 2 owners were the 2 who facilitated your retreat.
That's what their
They're
name
an
is.
Oregon-based company. Prothman is more of a nationally based company outside of Oregon. Frankly, I think Prothman, who does great work, they're mostly known for their recruitments, and that does seem a bit high, for my opinion, 2 employees. But Sherry, do you have anything to add?
I would add that Sherry Reedman, and I am the Manager of Employee Engagement and Development. Thank you for having me answer your questions. So as far as the quality, Commissioner West, I think before you land on who you would want to move forward with, if that's your decision, we can do reference checking and that sort of thing. Really connect with who they worked with before to get a sense of the quality of their work.
I guess my question is, what are we buying? Like, if we can compare and contrast, like, what we're actually buying in a service, that's a huge difference. Are we getting a lot more for 19,000? Are we getting a better value, do we think, at Executive Forum, who we have a relationship with? I think they did a good job at our retreat. And so I'm trying to just, I guess, ask you, like, where do you think we land on that?
Yeah,
Because
I think based on the information that both provided, they're both providing similar services
okay,
for
these
very,
are apples to apples you think we're looking at?
pretty much apples to apples from the information that they shared with me when I was gathering the documentation.
I guess I'll throw it out there before I yield back. I'm fine with Executive Forum, and I, want to help Gary in every opportunity for professional development. He feels like this would be important to him. I value Gary as our county administrator. I value him greatly. And so at that price tag, I'm comfortable with Executive Forum. I'm not sure what my colleagues are, but that's where I'm at.
Yeah, just to kind of follow up on you, Commissioner West, is that, first of all, I respect what Gary has to say, and I do think sometimes it puts HR in a difficult situation, and almost a little bit of a conflict of interest a little bit. So I do think it is better to kind of have an outside person do it. It provides that neutrality and that willingness to kind of be very forthright. And then what I really very much appreciate, I mean, it's survey tools, interviews, summary development, focused coaching sessions. And really, that's also what I want to see is really how can we help support Gary moving ahead in his executive development. And one of the things I've said to Gary is, honestly, I'd like to see him go to NACO. There's other county administrators are there. I think you can
Thank
learn a
you.
lot from
Yeah.
that. Gary's honestly so diligent, he doesn't want to leave the county. So those are some things I would like to personally see as a goal for him. And I think having some of those things where the board actually gets to give input on executive development too. So I would, I think it would be a good chance for us to test out this executive forum and see what kind of work comes out of it. So any other comments, colleagues?
I'll second that.
Great.
Do you need a motion?
So I do need a motion, so if somebody be willing to make a motion?
Chair, I move to select an external consultant to conduct the performance review process for administrator and council. And I would add that maybe we lean towards the executive forum price.
Cost-wise. Okay. All right.
Second?
All right. Okay, so Commissioner Helm has moved to select an external consultant to conduct the performance review process for administrator and council. It's been seconded by Commissioner Savas. And any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, would you please call the poll?
Commissioner Schrader.
Aye.
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Commissioner Savas.
Aye.
Commissioner Helm.
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And Gary, what's next?
Thank you, Commissioners, very much. I appreciate that. Thank you, Sherry, for your work as well. Next, review of your business meeting agenda for this tomorrow, Thursday, September 4, 2025. You will have a presentation from our county clerk, McMullen, who will give you a quick update on the November 4th, 2025 special election preview. You'll have a public hearing on an annexation to the Tri-City Service District of a property in Oregon City for stormwater service. You have a lengthy consent agenda for the county as well as water environment services, as well as public communication and your updates. If you have any question on any of these items, would you please let me know today if possible, so that I can answer them for you or have staff in the room to answer your questions tomorrow. Thank you. Last item today is Commissioner Communications. Chair.
All right, thank you, Gary. Start with Commissioner Schrader.
Well, thank you. Yesterday, we had a great time at Labor Day. Well, actually, no, it was, when was it? I lost track of time. I've been on break so long, but over Labor Day, Paul and I were at the AFL-CIO picnic in Oaks Park. They had moved it to Canby for a while, and now they've gone back to Oaks Park, which was really fun. It was great to see all of our colleagues there. Christine Lewis was there, a lot of our mayors, legislative folks. Were calling in because they were down in Salem at the time, still trying to pass a transportation package, which I've heard is still waiting for somebody to get back on the Senate to finish that up. So let's knock on wood and hope one way or another that gets excited. Also during break, I attended the Community Economic and Workforce Development meeting from the National Association of Counties. I was past chair, and now I am one of the vice chairs, so I still serve in that capacity. And we had our executive board meeting together, crafting what our conversations are going to be for the coming year. The Honorable Angela Crowley is the new, well, not new, this is her second time. Usually we get to serve for 2 years. So she's doing a great job as the as the chair of that committee, and it's an honor to work with her. And I also attended the National Association of Counties Membership Committee meeting. And we are the committee that really works with counties across the nation to encourage them to become members of the National Association. And I'm proud to say that Oregon is a 100% county. That means every county in Oregon, all 30 counties, are actually an active member of the National Association. So when we have our meetings, there is often and usually a large contingent of Oregonians that are going there to work on policy, national policy together, as well as to learn from our other colleagues across the United States. I'm also a member of the large urban county caucus, even though we are slightly below that threshold. It's usually 500,000, and we're still at about, I think, 425,000, whatever. But I attend that. I also attend the mid-sized county caucus meetings, which is where we really fit in that, and also continue to be a member of the Rural Action Caucus, because as we know, in our county, we have rural, we have urban, we have suburban, we have wild up on the mountain. So we probably fit every category that the association has for membership. Other than that, I have been on the phone constantly, calling colleagues across the nation, letting them know that I will be running for the second VP. And I hope, colleagues, you'll support me in that endeavor. It's a long haul, but I'll give it a go, and hopefully we'll bring more national work back to our county. So that's all I have. Great.
Thank you, Martha. Commissioner Savas.
Yeah, thank you. So first thing I wanted to mention, because we came off the team, not the team building, but the evaluation thing, and we talked about our March, I guess, team building, right? A little bit, we just barely touched on it. Just want to renew that because we have a complete team now, that we do that as soon as we can. And I know that scheduling, because we have one or two of us are going to be absent and not be able to have all five of us. What's that looking like today, Gary, time-wise, for scheduling?
So it's difficult with your schedules that you're all here at the same time. We put holds on your calendar for a few dates in October and November, and that was it for the times you'd all be here until the end of the year. I do want to suggest, as a suggestion, would you consider doing something in January? I know it's a longer, but you're all here, and it's the start of a new year. We're going to do your 6-month check-in with your strategic planning goals as well. We kind of can combine the two together. So I want to offer Commissioner Savas, if you and the board might consider maybe January, kind of doing that kickoff for your retreat, team building retreat.
Well, I'd love it, as soon as possible, frankly. I can't speak for the rest of my colleagues, right? It's all of us. But, I think the sooner the better. So January feels like a forever away.
If we have a quick discussion, feedback, commissioners, when would you like to have such a team building type work? Would you?
Well, we
January?
we can talk about it today, or I'm happy with doing it now, or we can maybe think about it and bring it back next Tuesday.
Okay, yeah, how
Can we
about
do
that?
Yeah.
I didn't mean to put anyone on the spot, but I just want to mention that was on my mind. The other thing that over the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've been talking to a lot of folks and reflecting on the last meeting we had with our community leaders and talking to some members of CCI and attended a few, functions. Martha, I mentioned this to you the other day, I think over the weekend, in one of those conversations, that I think it's been about 25 years since we did the complete communities
Yeah,
and
we did.
concurrency
Yeah.
public process. And I thought that was really a galvanizing opportunity for our rural and urban, and all of us, frankly, to be more involved. And it's been 25 years, and I think we have a lot really to kind of celebrate and successes. Concurrency was part of that effort, and C4 is doing very well. And knowing, because of COVID, that there's been a lot of CPOs that have gone inactive, it seems to me like they need a shot in the arm. And because of our 10 priorities, and use the prop, one of our 10 priorities is communications and engagement by 2026. It seems maybe that, what if we looked at, Complete Communities 2.0? Revisit that. I think that's a way maybe of accomplishing that one goal. And it is the public trust in good government. We have 2 of them for 2026. Those are the soonest ones. But I just want to throw that out there. I think it'd be I think we need a shot in the arm coming out of COVID to get people back reconnected. And I think there's it's a changed time. Things have changed considerably in 25 years. Land use, things have changed, not for the better. A lot of state mandated land use changes. So I think there needs to be not only that galvanic action, if you will, of us all coming together, but also an educational opportunity so everyone can learn about all these changes that are out of our hands. I heard a lot about code enforcement, a number of issues that came up. Ben, I need to connect with you. I also need to connect with the sheriff as well on some things that come up. But it seems to me that would be something I just want to promote, that we take a look at. I was busy through the whole time, and I worked hard in the yard as well. And I know that Chair Roberts did as well from our short conversation this morning. So, I'm somewhat refreshed, but I'm also exhausted. So, Chair, I don't have the whole lot, so I'm going to yield back.
All right. Commissioner West.
Thank you. August flew by. Cannot believe we're creeping into the fall now. It's September. Wow. August blew by. We had the fair, which was a phenomenal event. The rodeo was a lot of fun, interacting with the community, the parade that we did. Then we went quickly into summer break. Did a lot of nursing, did a lot of Navy stuff, and got time with my family, which was needed. So that was a good break. I feel ready to go. I know we'll no rest for the weary, but here we go together. So I don't have a lot to add this week, but I think I do share Commissioner Savas's thoughts around our team retreat. I know it's hard with scheduling, and we're going into holiday season, which also makes it all that difficult around the holiday season. I know that some of us need to take needed family time too. So I share that concern, but I do think January is too far. I'll put that out there as my thoughts. And I look forward to being productive here in the fall season. And congrats to all of the kiddos that are back in school. I know that it's so weird to me, like to start school in the last week of August, and then you go and have a 3-day weekend, and then you go right back to school. It was always, when I was in school, it was like right after Labor Day, that's when school starts. But I know that they started actually in August while we were on break. So I, just want to give a shout out to all the students and the teachers and the families that are going through that now and back to school process. I don't have much more to add at this time, but I look forward to us getting back in the saddle and doing good local work.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Helm.
Thank you. I echo you that I did some playing. I don't think I realized how much I needed time off until we got a little time off. It was much needed, and I'm back at it too. I attended the 82nd Avenue Transit Project meeting yesterday. I have some heartburn over it. I'll talk to you each individually. I just have some questions about how they're going forward with this project at the tune of $340 million. That from what I understand, again, I'm really new to this whole informational process, that it's going to shave 3 to 4 minutes off of a ride time. So that's the way my math worked out on it. So I'll talk to each of you about it because I want to see where you stand. But it's an interesting project they're putting forward. The money can't be used elsewhere. It has to be used specifically for that 82nd Avenue Transit Project. So I have a lot to learn, and I worked with Jamie and Jeff and Karen yesterday in the transportation department, but there's some things that I have questions on. I agree with you, Commissioner Savas, about the team building retreat. I think sooner is better than later. I'm getting called to jury duty. I told you that this morning in January, so I did get them to defer October's, but I don't know where I'll be in January either. So I have a grandbaby due any minute. I'm getting updates on my phone daily, and so if I do not make the Stafford Hamlet meet and greet on Saturday, it's because I'll be in Bend meeting my new granddaughter.
Oh, good.
So first one in the family, first daughter in the family in 3 generations, so pretty excited about that. Other than that, I am just back at a lot of meetings. There's CPO meetings coming up, there's tours, there's a lot going on this month, next, and the rest of the year. So back to you, Chair.
All right, thank you. Keep us updated on that new baby. And just a couple quick things. First of all, I'll echo what you said. It was great to kind of recharge our batteries. It has been very busy. And just a couple of updates. I met with a manager of Airstream, which is trailer manufacturing down, and trying to arrange a tour down there in Clackamas. I talked to Gary about that. They're very excited to kind of have county staff come down there, and also looking at how we can help support another local business. Another thing, I also rode a bike on the trolley trail with somebody from the unincorporated area of Clackamas, and it was very nice to see that there was no graffiti, and it was relatively very clean. So I was pretty excited. I did go into the Selwood area. It changed a little bit. So I was very proud of the county as far as, I was really amazed at how many, on a weekday, how many folks are actually using the trolley trail. And you better stay in your own lane is all I got to say, because there's a lot of bikes on that trolley trail. And then the very last thing, I'm trying to arrange a tour. I stopped by there, but was not able to kind of do a tour of, it's called Bonaventure Senior Living. It's next to the Milwaukee Community Center. It's just about, I think they have some clients there now, but actually have somebody that's also interested in going to that facility. So anyway, and talking to Gary about some partnerships that maybe the Milwaukee Community Center could have. So anyway, excited about that. But just as Commissioner Helm said, jumping back into lots of meetings, excited about some of the things coming up. So that's pretty much all I have to say. And with that, if there's no other matters, this will conclude today's administrative issues and updates. And we will be back at 1:30 this afternoon for a policy session. So until then, we're officially adjourned. Thank you. Go ahead.
My little guy just
And we
went.
have a time
had
place
his
next to
first
it,
day
and you have
at
to go in and
kindergarten.
order it on a little screen.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I will now call to order this policy session on September 3rd, 2025. Gary, would you please call the roll for us?
Yes, Chair, thank you. Roll call. Commissioner Savas.
Present.
Commissioner Helm.
Here.
Commissioner Schrader.
Here.
Commissioner West.
Here.
Chair Roberts.
Here. Thank you, Gary. Would you please introduce first policy session?
Yes, Chair. Session today is Clackamas Workforce Partnership, Budget and Agreements. Our staff from Transportation and Development, Economic Development will kick this off, and we have guests from Clackamas Workforce Partnership to present. So Laura Edmonds is our Manager of Economic Development and Transportation and Development, and please come forward. Brent Baylog is the Interim Executive Director of Clackamas Workforce Partnership, and Tracy Rumsey is the Board Secretary Treasurer of Clackamas Workforce Partnership. Come on down, Brent and Tracy, please. But Laura, if you'll kick it off.
I will, thank you. Chair Roberts, Commissioners, good afternoon. It's an honor to be before you guys today to have Clackamas Workforce Partnership present to you. So we are before you today for a couple items. We're seeking board acceptance of the Clackamas Workforce Partnership budget and approval of three documents, approval and signature of three documents, the Infrastructure Funding Agreement, a Memorandum of Understanding, and the Local Workforce Development Board certification. No general funds are involved. And so I'll introduce our guests in just a moment, but I wanted to just really briefly highlight some of the attachments in your packet. So attachment E is the presentation, the PowerPoint that you'll see that Brent will go over today. And then attachment A is going to discuss, attachment A is the Infrastructure Funding Agreement, the IFA. This is a document that's renewed annually, and it covers the cost sharing among the 11 partner agencies that support WorkSource Clackamas infrastructure. This document is, again, the county is not required to contribute any monies, but it's just the required for approval and signature by the chief elected officer, which would be the chair of the board, which you'll also consider approval for today. The attachment B is the Memorandum of an Understanding. The MOU outlines a common understanding of the shared work being performed by the 15 partners who are affiliated with the One Stop WorkSource office. And that's where they share resources, service delivery, data sharing, coordinated outreach, and performance reporting. So that is referenced in the IFA, so you'll see if you've read those. And then the third document, attachment C, is the Local Workforce Development Board certification. And the certificate is also approved by the governor of the state every 2 years. It's federally required. And this is a policy written to ensure adherence to the Workforce Investment Opportunity Act requirements by the Fed. And then your attachment D is the CWP budget, Clackamas Workforce Partner. Acronyms abound. And this is reviewed by you, it's reviewed and accepted by you. Approval not necessary, but it's required by the Department of Labor to be accepted by this Board of Commissioners and the Chair of the Board. Okay? So without further ado, I want to introduce Brent Baylog and Tracy Rumsey to present to you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Roberts, Commissioners. Commissioner Schrader and Savas, my apologies because you've heard this many times before, so I will try and keep it as interesting as possible while being as informative to the rest of the board as I can be. Appreciate the opportunity to come before you today and appreciate the assistance from Economic Development and the Housing Authority in bringing these agenda items forward. As Laura said, my name is Brent Baylog, and I'm the Interim Executive Director of Clackamas Workforce Partnership. We're a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and we have served as Clackamas County Certified Workforce Development Board since 2001. We were first designated as the Workforce Board under the Workforce Innovation Act, and then reauthorized under the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, or WIOA. I'll share a little bit more about WIOA and CWP's core functions and role momentarily, but did want to take a moment to provide some additional context that might be helpful. So myself, as well as 6 other individuals, function as staff to the board. So local workforce board really more accurately refers to our board of directors, and that is comprised of 51% private sector representatives, so employers as well as industry representatives, business alliances, and chambers of commerce. And then 49% of our board is made up of nonprofit and public sector representatives. So that includes trade and labor, as well as pre-K through adult education, community-based social service providers, and others. And then I'd like to highlight that Commissioner Schrader has served as a representative of the Board of County Commissioners in an ex officio capacity. So appreciate her partnership in ensuring the linkage between CWP and the work we do, as well as the goals and prerogatives of the Board of County Commissioners. Also would like to take a moment to thank Tracy Rumsey for being here, as well as some of our other board members for being present today. We've not historically had as much engagement from our board members, so excited for this level of commitment and glad that they are able to join us today. So I will go ahead and move us through. I'll try and keep this as interesting as possible. Apologies now for the acronyms and the repetition of workforce and board. So as I mentioned before, CWP is one of Oregon's 9 workforce development boards. We all oversee a workforce region, and the other boards serve their regions in a similar capacity to CWP in Clackamas County. Under WIOA, or the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, we are tasked with fulfilling the fulfillment of Title 1B of WIOA, which refers to job training and job placement for adults and youth ages 16 to 24. That includes dislocated and laid off workers, able-bodied adults with dependents, as well as low-income adults, and refers to youth who are disengaged from the school system or who lack any sort of educational attainment, so a high school diploma or GED. We secure these funds and then contract them out to direct service providers who work with community members and help them attain credentials and workplace skills that are relevant to the local labor market, with an emphasis on employment and occupations in one of the region's major industries. So that includes construction, manufacturing, healthcare, as well as behavioral health, and we have a few other targeted sectors as well, but those are our primary ones. WIOA funds are provided to, are filtered down to the workforce boards through the Department of Labor, and there's a state intermediary called the Higher Education Coordinating Commission, or HEC, which serves to, their function is to disperse these funds to each individual workforce board and workforce region. And then they also monitor use of these funds and provide oversight and assistance to each individual workforce board. This ensures compliance with WIOA or WIOA regulations as well as state policy. So I'm not going to go over the 13 functions of a WIOA workforce board. It'd be a little dry for this afternoon, but I would like to highlight a few key ones. I already alluded to us contracting with direct service providers who work with community members and employers. They assist community members, as I mentioned, in obtaining credentials as well as job placement in demand occupations in local industries. And then we also fund services that support employers and business owners in recruiting and retaining skilled talent, as well as preventing layoffs and closures, access to labor market data, and other services that promote their sustainability and business operations. Those services are provided at WorkSource Clackamas, which serves as a one-stop shop for employment training and job readiness resources. And WorkSource just refers to or is a network of partners, both those that CWP funds as well as partners we do not fund but collaborate with, who work together under the brand name of WorkSource to provide services to community members. In addition to overseeing WorkSource, some of our key functions as a WIOA board are to develop a local plan that is created using stakeholder input so that we're able to identify and develop collaborative strategies to meet the region's workforce needs. One of our other key functions is to convene, broker, and leverage, which is really just a fancy way of saying building relationships, oftentimes among institutions or systems of service that may not be coming to the table together, ideally helping them to facilitate direct partnerships and provide some coordination and strategy around how they work together. The last function I'd like to highlight is our role as not only selecting service providers, but also providing oversight and accountability to them to ensure that they're meeting their objectives, and then also offering them technical assistance to ensure they're able to provide the services that they've been tasked with providing. One of the items I'm bringing before you today is certification or recertification of CWP as the local workforce board. As Laura mentioned, the governor actually verifies or approves of the certification, but this is based upon the approval of the local chief elected official, which is the sitting chair of the Board of County Commissioners in Clackamas County, so Chair Roberts. The certification occurs every 2 years, and the requirements for this include a signed letter from the chief elected official, a copy of which would be attachment A in your packet. It also includes a membership roster of CWP's Board of Directors, which each time we get a new board member, the county approves, and so that matrix is updated and then sent over. It also includes the process for our nomination and appointment of board members, as well as our agreement with the county and our bylaws. The second item I'm asking for approval for today is CWP's 2025 to 2026 budget. Happy to provide additional information on this budget as follow-up, but did want to give some key highlights. Over 75% of our funding goes to community-based service providers who work directly with individuals and employers. These funding streams include a variety of different sources, but are primarily federal as well as state. And the budget that was approved by our executive committee and board of directors did receive a 10%, there was a 10% cut to the state of Oregon from WIOA funding, which in turn created a 15% cut to our local budget. So this was approved before that took place. And then two other key things that I'd like to highlight is that compared to our 2024 to 2025 budget, our revenue increased by about $350,000, and our expenses increased by about $501,000. The last thing I should share too is this reflects multiple multi-year grants. So there are some grants in this budget that began last year's budget cycle, and there are other ones that will continue into next year's budget cycle. So that's also something that should be noted. I covered a little bit about WorkSource Clackamas earlier, but just to give you an idea of some of the partners working on site, some of the ones funded through CWP include Clackamas Community College, CTEC Youth Services, Northwest Family Services, Children, Family, and Community Connections, and a few more. There are also some non-funded partners who are core to WorkSource services, including the Employment Department, Department of Human Services, and Vocational Rehabilitation. And that leads me to the infrastructure funding agreement and the memorandum of understanding. The infrastructure funding agreement is essentially a cost-sharing agreement that is developed by CWP in partnership with the service providers operating as part of WorkSource Clackamas. It requires the review and approval of the chief elected official, so Chair Roberts and the Board of Commissioners. Similarly, the memorandum of understanding is the IFA is a part of that, but they are separate documents functionally in some ways. The MOU just outlines a shared approach to service delivery and provides service providers a framework in which we can work collaboratively to meet job seeker needs. The signature and approval of the board chair, chief local elected official for that is just to verify that the information was shared with the county commissioners, and you've had the opportunity to review and provide commentary, feedback, et cetera. Would like to reiterate what Laura shared. The county does not provide any sort of financial contribution to the IFA. So in summary, I am here today to request approval and signature for the recertification of CWP as Clackamas County's Workforce Board, our 2025 to 2026 budget, as well as the infrastructure funding agreement and memorandum of understanding for WorkSource Clackamas. Happy to answer any questions, and of course, anything I cannot answer today will provide follow-up.
All right. Comments, questions from my colleagues? No. Commissioner Savas, go ahead.
I looked on your website, and I'm looking here on the landing page or the homepage, and it says 300 adult and dislocated workers enrolled in services, and then followed by 136 youth served by CTEC Youth Services. And then the last one was 2,900 clean slate Clackamas expungements since 2022. That's the only one that has a time reference. The first two, is that an annual number? Now, I gather that enrolled, it means current enrollment. So is that the current enrollment of 300?
You know, I would have to take a look at that. I imagine it's probably going to be either a quarterly number, but we did just finish compiling our systems performance report, which is a comprehensive multi-partner annual report that would provide probably more accurate, updated numbers around youth and adults engaged.
Yeah.
And happy to send that as follow-up.
Yeah. Going through the packet, I didn't see anything that referenced any kind of metrics for the performance, right, overall.
Okay, yeah, in addition to that systems performance report, our annual report is just being finalized, and that's usually presented in December to the commissioners, but we can share that ahead of that formal presentation. That's also going to include the total metrics for the previous program year, so 2024, 2025.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And I should say previous annual reports are also available on our website, but I can be sure that those are sent over, and that's going to have that same comprehensive annual information for the previous program years.
I had just a couple questions. And I heard you say ages 16 to 24, so that's the population you serve, is that correct?
That is the federal definition under WIOA for youth. So we do serve individuals through other grants and funding streams that are younger than 16. Typically 14 is the youngest, depending on the type of service they're receiving. So if it's some sort of job shadow or paid work, youth work experience, 14 is typically the youngest. We do some career exploration and work readiness skills development with middle school age youth as well. And then 24 is the federal kind of like cutoff between what constitutes youth versus adult. However, those who are 18 to 24 can be served as adults as well. It sort of depends on their need and area of interest.
And as far as locally, if you have an adult that's seeking employment or needs some help, where would you refer them to?
Typically, if a general, let's say, example adult without knowing any sort of like personal circumstances, any prior work or educational history or lack of, longer term career goals, et cetera, a good starting point would just be going to the WorkSource Clackamas Center.
Oh.
They complete what is called an exploratory process, and that's where they will learn about all the different resources available to them generally, and they can work with a staff member to highlight some of their previous educational, even volunteer if they don't have any professional or work experiences, anything in their background that might help indicate a particular kind of direction. Or if they already have a sense of what they may be interested in, that's going to help us direct them towards either employment resources or training and education resources if they need to develop more skills or obtain a credential for that line of work.
That's, first of all, fantastic to hear, because I have people say, hey, I need a job, and want to kind of direct them in a good direction, some of which obviously have some workforce background. Another question I get, and that is, and I'll keep the names out of it, but an adolescent that pretty much had to live on his own, has a lot of tickets, right? Had to go to work, had to drive himself to school. He's now trying to address those tickets. He's really struggling. Now, I see about the expungement, and this is kind of a lower level. He's got a lot of tickets everywhere. And wanting to help him kind of get back on track. And where would you direct somebody like that?
Initially, depending on what these tickets are for and the length of time this individual has had them, they may be expungement eligible. They may not be. There's usually a time frame that has to pass before somebody can get any sort of infraction expunged. However, I'd say the expungement clinics could still be a resource for learning about similar organizations or programs that work with the general public, but also in particular what we might call like hard to hire individuals based on perhaps a experience in the legal system, whether it's minimal or more serious. So I would say the expungement clinics could be a good starting point. Again, WorkSource Clackamas could also be a vehicle for them to get to a more tailored program or service provider to help meet their needs. And then we work very closely with Clackamas County's Children, Family, and Community Connections in a variety of capacities, expungement clinics included, but also with a reentry grant that is statewide, so that's pre and post release from prison, but also coordinate with CFCC to provide services to some additional hard-to-hire populations. Now, if this is a young person that falls in that youth category, we have several youth providers who may have resources that will allow them to access like youth expungements, which operate differently than adult expungements.
Great. And if they're watching, what phone number would you tell them to call? If they were to
Gosh,
call?
I should, 971, I have the area code memorized, but I can look up
Okay.
a few different phone numbers that might be useful.
Okay, so I could, maybe you can get those to me so I can pass them on.
Absolutely.
I've got quite a group here that would like to ask a question or comment. I'm sorry, I don't know who came on first, but Commissioner, Gary, you want to go first?
Wait till the end.
Okay, then Commissioner West.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. You might have heard about it, but Clackamas County is building out a recovery campus. We have an issue around, of course, we all know about this, homelessness, substance use disorder, behavioral health needs, and helping build out an entire care continuum. And when we talk about this, we also talk about when those individuals are ready to re-enter the workforce and how we can tailor specific services to help those individuals be fully recovered, self-sufficient, and if possible, back in community and productive again. Have you, in this region or in this area, had the opportunity to help people through that care continuum in that recovery space? And I'm guessing we will probably having more conversations with you around our recovery campus that we're excited about to bring that asset on board to help that population. So I don't know if you could speak to opportunities where you've helped people with behavioral health needs, specifically like substance use disorder, and they've gotten more sober and they're able to get back on their feet again, and where you guys fit within that care continuum.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I actually recently met with Mary Rumbaugh to talk about some behavioral health related considerations. So timely question. I would say prior to the current state, we've dabbled in the behavioral health recovery realm kind of casually, and that's been through partnerships with like Mental Health Addiction Association of Oregon, United We Heal Training Trust, which is focused on like peer wellness and recovery, as well as CFCC that I mentioned earlier, and a few other entities who work more directly in like recovery and peer support and helping provide that like tailored stabilization. Also want to throw in Love One and the Father's Heart, as well as the Clackamas Service Center. I know they are focused on homelessness, but a lot of overlap between those populations. And that's really focused on cross-training between frontline staff providing services in these different types of systems or at these different institutions. We actually, at the auditorium in the Development Services Building last month, later this month and October, we'll have a Behavioral Health and Workforce Services Symposium. and that's where industry professionals are equipping career coaches and workforce advisors to better serve individuals in recovery or with behavioral health needs. Not that that's a replacement for professional services, but these are community members who also should be served the same way by our programs, which are a public good that any other individual would be. That being said, we did recently receive a grant, and this is to work with United We Heal and Mental Health Addiction Association to recruit and train and place into jobs Clackamas County residents. So this would focus on positions like peer support or peer wellness specialist, qualified mental health advocate, and there are a few others in the list. But I would say we've had previous experience in the behavioral health realm and recently did identify that as a targeted sector because such high demand for those positions and such high turnover, but we're just kind of rolling our sleeves up and getting started as far as digging in the same way that we have with like manufacturing or traditional healthcare construction.
Perfect, thank you.
Great. Commissioner Schrader.
Well, welcome, Brent. It's nice to see you again. I appreciate working with all of you. I wanted to go back to something that what Commissioner Savas mentioned, and that is the notion of metrics. And my understanding of all these years with WIOA is that the workforce boards have to adhere to some pretty rigorous metrics that are defined by the federal government, that you have to consistently get that data out and make sure that you're meeting all the requirements. Could you just speak to that a little bit about what those metrics are, how they're administered? And so far, all the years I've worked with you, there's been no issue with meeting those metrics. So.
Yeah, we've historically been fairly successful in meeting those required metrics under WIOA. It can vary from service provider, like program, but essentially what those are based on often is like population, unemployment rate, and then the individuals we're working with, where they're starting from, somebody with maybe a high school diploma, let's say, versus somebody with no educational credential. So there are benchmarks that we need to meet as far as what their level of skills development looks like. That could be a GED, a work readiness certificate, or the name's slipping my mind now, but NCRC, National Certificate Work Readiness, or it could be some other sort of certification or degree. And then the next metric would be whether they obtained employment or not, and at what wage they obtained employment. So we are supposed to meet a certain standard that is living wage for our region. I don't know if that accurately reflects the true cost of living in the area, but we have some federal metrics outlined for that. And then the final one would be retention of employment.
Thank you for that, because I
you're
wanted to
welcome.
make it clear that there's specific things that you have to meet as the workforce board.
And I should share, thank you for asking that question, because I would also like to share, and I sort of touched on this earlier with multiple funding streams. WIOA is our staple funding stream and program, and there's what we have to adhere through that. But then we also have several other state as well as private funding streams that have their own metrics. And sometimes they overlap and complement with WIOA, and sometimes they don't.
Okay, thank you for that.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Helm?
Thank you, Brett. On one of the earlier slides where you showed your revenue and your expenditures, I see that a lot of your funding comes from grants. How we're hearing about grants being cut back, are you getting the same feel of that? Or do you feel some of yours are in jeopardy going forward too?
Only until I get a chance to speak to some funders, flash a smile, and then and then I'm sure that, our funding will be completely fine and intact. No, we do have some concerns, particularly around federal funding streams, and of course, a lot of what we would call state funding is actually federal funds filtered through the state. So there was some information released today, literally right before I headed out the door to drive here, around potential cuts to WIOA as well as some other workforce adjacent federal programs. That has not been approved by the federal Senate, so nothing set in stone, trying not to get ahead of ourselves with that. That being said, we are looking at, those 13 functions I mentioned earlier. They really span a wide gambit. And there are some ways that we can creatively work with other organizations, I think, to share the cost burden of certain things, collaborative funding models, as well as shared investment models with other nonprofits. And then we are also engaging more proactively our board of directors, as well as other community supporters in more hands-on fundraising.
Thank you.
Commissioner Savas?
Yeah, what I was trying to tease out actually was on the question, I was trying to get an idea about capacity, both capacity as far as how many people you can run through your system, and then what the demand is from people that want to walk in, and also the capacity on the side of the employers saying we need people, right? So those three different levels of capacity, and I do this when I talk to people in the trades industry, like labor unions, they have training. Always trying to get a sense of how many people are coming in, what's your demand. So can you enlighten me a little?
Yeah, unfortunately, this is going to be fairly broad and abstract, and I hate to fall back on the systems performance and annual reports that we will be able to share with you with some hard numbers. I know as far as demand for workers in our key sectors, those continue to, there's a high need for workers. Behavioral health, as we touched on earlier, is one that has a continued and increasing demand. Construction and manufacturing continue to be high need, as well as healthcare, which is kind of what makes them our 4 targeted sectors. The demand on the job seeker side, I believe, is increasing, particularly for alternative training opportunities. So things outside of 4-year degrees, looking at pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship programs, as well as short and longer term training resulting in professional certificate. I can pull through our partnership with the employment department and qualityinfo.org some specific numbers from our local economist around actual job seeker need. And kind of cross-reference that with the number of people who are accessing WorkSource services, and that would provide, I think, a more accurate picture. And that can also be kind of looked at alongside of number of people enrolled real-time in some of our training programs.
Okay. Any industries where we're maybe really having a difficult time recruiting people?
The 4 I just mentioned, early child care and education, which I know Commissioner Schrader's been involved in some work with us around that, as well as folks at CFCC and the Early Learning Hub. Social and human services, and I know that's pretty broad. We pursued an apprenticeship program in partnership with ODHS Self-Sufficiency to fill 2 of their kind of frontline staff positions. So we completed part 1 of that and submitted it to BOLI, but did not have the funding to follow through with curriculum development. But social and human services, referring to state agencies, health and human service providers, nonprofit organizations, is another one that has high need and high turnover. And then lastly, renewable energy or clean energy, not so much turnover at this point, but as like a budding industry, lack of awareness, lack of maybe interest because of that lack of awareness. So that's another one that is experiencing some difficulty, particularly as like state and federal funding priorities shift, and it's heavily reliant on those funding streams. But just would reiterate, behavioral health, manufacturing, construction, healthcare are always kind of high need.
Okay, thank you.
This has been one of the most, lots of conversation about this. I know Commissioner Schrader has a comment, and so does Commissioner West, so go ahead.
Do you want to go first? You want me to go first?
You mentioned the renewable energy sector. Am I right that there's a huge shortage in those that will maintain the turbines because you have to climb like a squirrel, way up in the air, and I'm not doing it. But there's a lot of these trades that are tied to the energy sector, and some of it's this maintenance work, and it's skilled labor, and you have to be harnessed in and flying in the wind a little bit. Am I right? Some of it's around that, right?
Yeah, don't quote me on this, happy to confirm, but I would say the demand for individuals who are constructing some of those structures is easier to fill than some of the individuals who be in occupations that are maintaining structures.
Yeah, it's I just drove by, I went to Idaho over Labor Day weekend, and I drove by all those
Oh, that's
wind turbines on the eastern side of the state, and I was like, yeah, I mean, I just thought of it, I was like, there's no way that I could, I mean, I can barely climb a ladder to paint my ceiling, so that's me, but.
My hands
Yeah,
sweat.
yeah, there's need out there.
Yeah. So I just had one comment, and I was hoping you can answer. What is your outreach directly to the business community? Are you regularly doing outreach to the, the traded, just not just the traded sector, but the continuum of the businesses that we have here to assess and evaluate what their workforce needs are?
We are, and actually, that is one of my priorities kind of moving forward for the organization, is to, what I would say, re-emphasize or to beef up our business and employer engagement, and extending that to include business alliances, industry associations, and chambers. We had for a very long time 2 business services managers, and then are down to 1. So that's kind of significantly limited the organization's ability to do the same level of engagement with employers that we had before. But we still do have our business services manager, and then myself in this role and in my previous role, as well as our communications director. We're all kind of on point to divide and conquer employer engagement, knowing that our business services manager is going to have the technical expertise, whereas myself and our communications director can be present at chamber events or things along those lines to do some of that soft engagement. And then we also do have a business advisory group, which is comprised of private sector employers and business owners. So that's another opportunity to involve employers in decision-making processes, help inform funding priorities, things along those lines.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am a big yes on this. I've just gotten a note that I have to get to my community college and OSU meeting. And I'm already a little bit late, so we can give this the thumbs up if I'm not here. But I'll give it a thumb up now. I am going to have to go attend this meeting. Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thank you, guys. Okay.
That being said, Gary,
Sorry, I have a question in which we've prepped you in advance, Brent, and our staff as well, and it's regarding the Memorandum of Understanding language. In particular, this language, the chief elected official shall serve as the grant recipient for and shall be liable for any misuse of the grant funds, ... So this is longstanding language that the federal government requires, but Chair Roberts is not liable if for whatever reason there's a problem with the grant. So I just want to ask the question, can we have assurances that it's the county, the organization that's liable, not the chief elected officer? And what can we do to ensure that is the intent?
Yeah, good question. Understand the concern there. No, it would not be the person, the personal individual filling the role of chair of the county commissioners. It is that entity as a representative of the county. I believe in a partnership agreement that we have CWP with the county, which is already in place. It does outline some of those like stipulations and the process in which things would unfold before the county or the board chair would be that ultimate point of accountability. However, I can provide either an addendum or something stating or clarifying some of that language to provide those assurances.
Would you be willing to write a short letter that we could just attach to this, just to give assurances to us at the county? We fully support what you're doing, but I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm concerned by reading this. And
Yes.
just so everyone understands, it's the organization of the county.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
And we can, I'm assuming, maybe work with economic development to get that material?
Yeah, Chair, is that okay if we were to do that?
yeah, it'll be great. I won't have to up my umbrella policy. So,
Thank you.
okay, no, that's fantastic. Thank you, Gary, for asking that. Any other thing before we move on, Gary? Yeah.
Should we loop in council to make sure it's where?
I mean, and
what do you
Caleb,
think?
you've been sitting here, you've done a lot of work for us. Do you want to add anything, Caleb? He says no. Billy, do you want to add anything?
Only just so we have it in writing,
Yeah. Okay.
so there's
Cool.
very clear answer and no questions not answered.
Thank you.
So, I mean, it might sound silly, but I just will ask the question. Let's just say the language is meant and reads like it does. Does does Chair Roberts need to increase his homeowner's umbrella policy? Or is it the county umbrella policy that has to cover that? Who covers it? If the language is actually meant as it's written?
Are you asking me or
sorry,
or
yeah,
Brent? You're
Wait, our
looking
attorney,
at-
come on, Caleb. Caleb, come on down.
I'm looking more for, yeah.
Oh, here, Caleb.
Laura, if
Here,
Laura
I'll
is.
get out of the seat. Caleb can have the hot seat.
I will say briefly that under WIOA, it clarifies it is not an individual filling the role of the chief local elected official.
Thank you.
But
Caleb, go ahead.
If funds are misused under WIOA, it says that the chief elected official is liable for repaying those funds to the federal government. The next section of the federal regulations implementing WIOA says that if there are multiple chief elected officials, for example, if a local area is composed of multiple jurisdictions, they have to decide among themselves how much each jurisdiction is going to be liable for. So I think even the regulations implementing the federal law contemplate that it is the jurisdiction that will be liable for the misuse of funds, not the personal serving in that capacity. But yes, to answer your question, Commissioner Savas, it would be the county that will be responsible for repaying those misused funds to the federal government.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Are we okay to move ahead then, Gary?
Yes, please, thank you.
All right. Having that being said, let's maybe start with a motion having to do with the budget.
I move we accept the Clackamas Workforce Partnership Annual Budget.
I'll second.
All right. Commissioner Helm has moved to accept the Clackamas Workforce Partnership Annual Budget. Commissioner West has seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, would you please call the poll?
Commissioner Savas.
Aye.
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Commissioner Helm.
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. And now it looks like there's another motion that needs to be made having to do with infrastructure funding agreement and MOU. Sir.
So would you like me to add language off the fly here to kind of clarify that? So I move we approve the infrastructure funding agreement, the memorandum of understanding, and the certification request contingent upon clarification of the liability as previously discussed.
Second.
Almost there. All right. Commissioner Savas has moved to approve the infrastructure funding agreement, the memorandum of understanding, the certificate request, contingent on clarification regarding the liability as discussed. It's been seconded by Commissioner West. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, clerk, would you please call the poll?
Commissioner Helm.
Aye.
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Commissioner Savas.
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0, Mr. Chair.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you very much. It was very informative. Thank you so much for what you do. It's incredible work. I know a lot of people are really trying to find work that is sustainable for their family and how you're plugging young adults in. I want to say thank you and thank you to all your staff. So unless there's any concerns, this will conclude our afternoon work. So on behalf of the Board of Commissioners, thank you everyone for joining us today, and we are officially adjourned.